Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Inquisition with Isa, the Cocker Spaniel, who was broken but now isn't broken, and me, Duncan, with maybe Casey if he turns up, and Teamhornedratq is joining us. I hope you are all well. Hello RS War Gaming, how are you, bruv? I have been relegated to my kitchen. So yeah, I will send you an invite to that, and now the dog's deciding to I'll send you a wee invite there, Maria. Just accept. You should have a wee pop-up. And oh, that's a very nice picture you had there. How are you, pal?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, can't complain. Hello, 1,000 cheaper brushes. Hope you're well. That is a lovely cup that you're sucking from. Is that the blood of all your victims this week?
The cowboy boots.
Very nice.
But the girly.
Looks like there's a few hats in there as well, isn't there?
Yes, there is the very cowboy themed boot mug.
Nice. So we just had your Casey, as usual, 2 minutes just to join us. I have been. Thanks very much for joining us tonight, though, Maria.
Thank you for having me.
No, it was a shame we couldn't get you on 2 weeks ago, but
yeah,
things happen and these things happen. The Lord of the Cats has joined us. Welcome, Jehan, so on and so forth. Folks, now remember, if you do or are interested in getting decent brushes for a cheap price, orange brushes, sort you out, put an Inquisition, 10% off. And if you live in the UK, free shipping. Now, you can't say better than that.
they're really good. I use them myself.
There we go. They are good brushes, and you're supporting a small business as well. So, hey, Commissar Molotov, how are you doing, bud? And I hope that everybody is well out there in the Inquisition land. And thank you all for joining us tonight. So we might as well just dive in, because Casey's probably about fighting me. Oh, there he is there. Probably fighting his son to get him to bed. So we'll just send him an invite, or he'll send us an invite. We'll send him an invite, and then we can get this shindig. Stupid fucking up. You were told like 3 hours ago there's an update, Casey. Obviously, he didn't update it until now.
I have updated. However, it took, for some reason, at the moment, I've got this bug where you try and click a story or live, and it doesn't open it, and it does nothing, so I have to like force restart the app a couple of times. So apologies for being late.
Mate, that is the worst excuse. We've done this for 2.5 years, and that's the worst excuse you've managed to come up with. You must be scraping at the bottom of the barrel now.
There's only so many times I can say that the dog ate my food.
Yeah, that's true. So, Maria, we're just going to jump straight in and just ask the same question that we asked every single person, just as a jumping off point. What is your mother's maiden name, your home address, and what was your first primary school? No, I'm only kidding. What age were you when you first got into plastic crack? Who was the person that got you into it? And what was the first thing that you painted?
So I'm trying to do maths. I was in my second year of uni. So I was 21. I'm 13. I'm nearly 30 now, so that gives you a bit of a perspective. And I went to a D&D tester with my partner to our local nerd shop, and then I saw this like 3 Space Marines start off painting kit. So I picked one up. My partner was into Warhammer, but not fully. Like he wasn't collecting miniatures at the time, but he did dabble. Like he currently works on the Total War game as well. So that's kind of how I got started as well. And so I picked up the 3 Space Marines, painted them very badly, and then the next day I went to Warhammer and bought my first starter set, and then I painted a Chaos Army, and it was the one and only army that I ever finished from beginning till the end.
I don't think I've completed my army yet, and I've been doing it for 5 years, so you must have.
It was the only army I've ever painted fully, and then I sold it for like 50 quid, which is barely anything that it was worth for.
Oh.
That wouldn't even get you 5. That wouldn't even get you 5 Citadel paints.
No, it didn't even cover the money that I spend in Warhammer, but it's down the hole we go.
So, are you selling any more armies anytime soon? Because I think we could get you some custom.
You say that. I did just sell my Necrons for like only £200, and then again the guy got such a good deal. So there you
yeah,
go.
But
cheap minis, and they're nicely painted.
Necrons are bastards, so I hate Necrons.
They are.
And that's why I sold mine, because of the fucking flayed ones and their stupid wee things. But yeah, you've done yourself dirty there, Maria.
I have. I've only kept my Skaven and some Lord of the Rings minis.
Right, so I'm going to ask you a question that we don't normally ask people, but I'm going to throw it out there because we've not asked this for a long time, Casey. And Casey takes 3 minutes, so he writes all the notes because he's professional, that's what his job is. Where did you get the inspiration for Teamhornedratq as your username?
So I absolutely loved Skaven. Skaven was my favourite faction. It was after I played Vermintide out of all the games that I could play. I know you kill Skaven in it, but I absolutely loved Skaven. And then so I went down the rabbit hole of collecting Skaven, collecting the books, and then Teamhornedratq was born from there.
Skaven
What is it about the Skaven? Because you're a Skaven freak, Stacey. What is it about the Skaven that makes you Southerners love it so much?
Shit, candle lover. So for I think, having lived in London and used the tube, there was always the comment that on the tube network you're no more than 10 metres from a rat at any time. And you do see a few down there running through the tracks and stuff and jutting out of like different things. And it was always like this little, they've got a secret underground world. What shit are they eating, and so on and so forth. But for me, lore-wise, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, when you read some of them Skaven books and dip into the lore, they're just mental.
They are.
Like, people give orcs all the hype for being like football hooligans and whatever. Skaven are exactly the same, but they're like the sneaky ones that will run around and film things on their camera phone to upload it to the internet.
Yeah, I absolutely, that's one of the reasons why I love Skaven. It's just, they're so crazy, and they're just constantly high on green glow crack. Like, they're just, I don't know, there's just something really endearing about them. Funny enough, I just find them really cute.
Yeah. And it's the funny thing, like, you can go into Pets at Home, you see rats for sale, and I like the idea of a pet, but if you buy Skaven, fair enough, they probably cost more in the long run because you have to buy loads of them, but they're cleaner, you don't have to empty cages out.
I had pet rats, not just because of Skaven, but our first two boys were named Deathmaster Snick, and we had Ikit Claw. The trips to the vets were really awkward. So there you go. But rats in general are absolutely wonderful pets, and they're incredible. And I think that kind of reconfirmed my love for Skaven.
And I think as well for our generation, we grew up watching Roland Rat.
Yeah, but also I read all the rat books by James Herbert. They were good.
And I tell you what, the game was amazing. Skaven Tie. I always get the name of it wrong, but it felt, and I'm going to drop it. It felt as close to a Mordheim game that you could get.
Yeah.
It wasn't Mordheim though, but it was basically Left 4 Dead, but instead of zombies, you had rats.
Yeah.
And it was just quality because you're trying to play it with your four mates, and the next minute an assassin jumps at you, or it was frustrating as shit, but really fun.
Yeah.
And do you play much Warhammer then, or is it just you just like the pretty paints and the pictures and the art side of it?
I tried playing Warhammer, but my little rat brain just cannot, I cannot wrap my head around the rules. I don't want to do maths while I play games. And I tried 40k with my Necrons, and I think it's because I had so many Necrons.
Yeah.
That I just feel like I just got overwhelmed. And then I played one game with my Skaven at a Warhammer store, and then I got absolutely ass-wiped by the person who was teaching me.
See, I always think that's a bit of a shitty one when the person who's meant to be teaching you and helping you guide through learning these curves in these ridiculous games.
Yeah,
it was. And watch out, it's not fun.
It was a staff member as well.
Oh, Did you give him a kick on the way out and say, fuck your shop?
No, I spend more money.
That's why I'm going to mention it because I always mention it at least once every quarter. There's a guy that in the gaming club that I play in, and he was playing a 1,000-point game against a new guy, and he brought Angron in a 1,000-point game.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, and then ever since I played a little bit of the Lord of the Rings system as well, and we did we had 3 players, so we were all kind of against each other. And I enjoyed that, but I just don't think tabletop gaming is for me.
Did you say you dabbled in D&D though as well?
Yes, yeah. Me and my friend group at uni, we played D&D religiously every single Friday. It started late in the evening and it would go off really, really late. And we never finished our campaign. Never did.
I don't think I've ever really played in a group that ever properly finished a campaign either. So don't worry, that seems to be a standard thing.
But I do, yeah. I absolutely love D&D. It was wonderful, and I would always try to play a character that would have a pet, but I never had a pet rat. But I had a pet badger that got squished by a giant. I still mourn her.
I miss silly things in D&D like that. I haven't played it for donkeys, but we have the DM just let us get away with crazy things just for the sake of the fun of it.
Yeah, my partner was a DM, and I think the rule was always like, if you can justify it, if you can tell me how you're going to do it, do it.
Which is the way it should be played.
Yes.
You know, people get too hung up on these things. Have a bit of fun with it and just.
Oh yeah.
So would you say that you find the painting more therapeutic than anything? Then?
Yeah. I absolutely love painting. I can just put on a film or something or a TV show that I have seen a million times and then just paint. And I finally kind of started painting more for myself. So kind of getting out of the Warhammer zone, getting into more actual display figures. Yeah. And I've been absolutely loving it.
I think I'm starting to do that as well. I'm starting to kind of push away, even though I'm painting Mortari and stripping on my death guards and repainting them. But I think you find, I don't know if you will agree with this, but Warhammer's basically your training wheels.
Yeah.
And then it's like your stabilizer, so when you're riding a bike, and then once you get comfortable doing what you do, then you expansion. Like,
it's very it's very expensive training wheels. But it definitely it's how I got into the world of painting minis, and then I've now just buy random miniatures that I see online that I'm going, oh, that's pretty cool, and then eventually I'll paint them at some point.
She's not eating poo today, so she's allowed up near my face because I've been watching her today. No,
you say that my dog has eaten poo today.
Why are you letting the dogs eat poo? A lot of you. Why are you so mad?
Freaks.
Oh well, it's not as if we'll let them. We should do one of those videos like day 1 of my dog not eating poo, day 2 of my 1 hour of my dog not eating poo.
I would lose so quickly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like you see people that everybody starts off in Warhammer and then they slowly transgress into other things.
I think it's because Warhammer is so easily available. It's kind of your gateway into other systems. You kind of when you go into any nerd shop, Warhammer is just so prevalent and it's so center that it's the first thing that your eyes are drawn into. And then I kind of started in the little nerd shop, then I kind of started looking around and I saw Malifaux, which was really great. There was just so many different systems that I was like, oh, I would like to explore that. Never played any of them, but the minis are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that, what would you say, since you've veered away from just doing purely Warhammer stuff and you're venturing out into other systems, other manufacturers, what would you say has stood out as your favourite thing to paint?
Nom Nom figures.
I've never heard of those. Would you mind elaborating?
Yes, they create some absolutely amazing models from different pop cultures.
Okay.
So I'm currently painting Malevola from Dispatch. I've got on my desk, I've got an Attack on Titan miniature, I've got Elizabeth from Bioshock. They just create such fantastic minis, and you can get the STL files if you have a 3D printer, or like me, like the peasant that I am, that I don't have a 3D printer. I go on Etsy, and I found a great store, Tiny Forge store, and he prints out some great quality minis that I buy from pretty much every other month because they're just so awesome.
We really need to change the name to something other than STL files. It sounds like you're going to say STD or STI. You know what I mean?
Fair point.
I've tried to text somebody saying, "Oh, can you give me that STL and email it to me?" And it's always come out as STD. I'm like, come on.
I've got that STD file for you. Can you print it out, please?
Have you checked it first? You sure it's not a virus? When you pick my computer up.
Just what you know, I got that STD. You need to check with the people you got it from.
Only get them from the people you trust the most.
Absolutely.
So, obviously, Warhammer is like the training wheels and stuff. So, and obviously, Citadel paint would also be under that umbrella as well. Do you still use Citadel paints, or have you branched into other brands? And if so, what brand do you like?
I still use Citadel. I think their paints are pretty decent, although I feel like they are more on the pricey side, just like everything else with Games Workshop. But they are decent paints, and they're paints that I've tried and trust. So you do come back to what's familiar. I recently I do use Army Painter, their new range of the Fanatic paints I really like. I never got on with Army Painter paints before because I always found them so watery, but the Fanatic range is actually pretty decent. I have also reached out into the speed paints. The speed paints are actually pretty great, funny enough, to just speed paint your way through any mobs, anything smaller, anything that doesn't really have much detail. And then a dear friend who's currently in the chat also got me into AK Interactive. They're so bright. They are pigment packed. But I have recently learned that AK Interactive is a bit of a problematic company. So as much as I appreciate the paints, if I get them out, it'll probably be from like a third party shop. But they are brilliant paints. Like, they are so pigment packed. They're very.
What's AK done now?
I'm not gonna get into it. Do your own research. There was just certain dioramas shared that probably touch on the very sensitive topics that probably should not be written and showed.
Nothing else. But yeah, I mean, it's so tough because it's such a niche hobby that every company has got some dirty fingers and some dirty pies sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, yeah, I don't think anyone's got a business practice that's gone down well, really, have they? I mean, was the Spanish mob that went on strike a little while ago?
Vallejo.
Yeah. You got
Yeah.
Vallejo going on strike. You got Green Stuff World ripping everyone off.
Yeah.
Games Workshop don't pay anyone and jack the prices up ridiculously. I don't. Apart from maybe, I think Colour Forge for their spray cans.
Yes.
Well, I heard that Colourforge use Oompa Loompas.
They use what?
They use Oompa Loompas. If you look at the size of a Colourforge can,
No,
it's the same
that's
size
fine.
as an Oompa Loompa.
That's fine. No one cares about Oompa Loompas anymore.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't think anyone covers himself in glory, really, do they?
No. It's a very, very small market out there. I would love to try out Too Thin Coat by Duncan Rhodes, but just haven't had the chance to purchase any paints from them yet.
Even if you look at brushes now, people are starting to be annoyed by sable brushes because it's cruelty to animals. I've been reading things like that.
I haven't noticed anything with brushes. I am such a brush destroyer. I go through brushes so quickly. That's why I buy cheaper brushes, and it's probably why I destroy them so quickly. But I'm so scared to buy decent brushes because I know that I will eventually leave my paintbrushes in my water cup for days. I know that I won't clean it properly. Like, that's why I'll buy the 10 quid pack on Amazon, and it will last me for ages. But like, I've got some, like, I've got the little orange brush that came with the competition mini. I've recently bought myself some Green Stuff World Silver Series Kolinsky brushes, and they're really nice. So I'm trying my best not to destroy them, because eventually all of my brushes become dry brushes, unfortunately.
All these brushes say use shampoo
Okay.
for your brushes. So that's why they don't do soap.
I do spend a lot of money on my shampoo, so...
Yeah, use your best shampoo for your hair and your brushes. And if you look after your hair, you'll look after your brushes.
Unless you're me and Dunk, we don't really look after our hair very well either. So,
I am thinning at the top and my hair's falling in my face and just staying there.
Same, I've got the same problem.
I was going to say something like that, but I'm not going to.
So out of all the brands of paint and everything that you do use then, obviously you've given a bit of love to Army Painter there. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to stop my ramble there. The Army Painter pens, have you tried those?
No, and I refuse to do so, because what's the point?
Fair enough.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be, I'm seeing a lot of companies now, like Army Paint have gotten into it, AK have gotten into it, a lot of them are releasing paint pens, and I know it seems to be, there's a lot of it's coming from like the colouring in market, I think, isn't it?
None of the pens that I've seen, funny enough, have a nice point to them, so they're very stubby because they're like markers. It's like, I'm not going to be able to get any details off that. So just why don't you just work on better paints instead of working on pointless products?
Yes, like Duncan Bannatyne used to say in the Dragon's Den, other Dragon's Den shows are obviously available. They've created a solution for a problem that didn't exist.
Exactly. It doesn't exist. Because
as you said, the brushes are quite thick, so you don't have to buy, they're going to come out like a size 00 type brush. What, as you said, what's the point of 00 brushes? Like, just use a brush.
Yeah. Like, even for bigger minis, they're just, you just gotta get, I can just imagine them being really streaky, and yeah, they're just, I don't think they're work, but maybe it works for someone, and if it does, great.
Now that brings me on to, so I go slightly back a wee bit, you said that your partner, does he or she still play Warhammer, or do you
so
do the painting and they do the playing?
Yeah, so he, like me, has a great pile of shame. We try to, what we do, we'll organise like a Sunday where we just sit in the living room and paint together while watching a film. I know he wants to paint and play more, not with me because I'm not no. But yeah, he still collects. He's got. Let me just ask, what army do you have? Cities of Sigmar and Rohan.
Cities of Sigmar are getting a lot of love at the moment. I've seen a couple of guys I follow who are getting big into them. I think it's just a fantasy aspect, just making a little bit more, well, slightly different. I think they're all right.
Some of the models are better looking than 40k models, though.
Yeah, they're really lovely models. There's some really cool sculpts. But the humans are boring. They're not rats.
Yeah, they're not rats. But I think it is generally, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, that a lot of people that we've had on before who are just purely more painting-minded than gaming-minded have always said AOS stuff trumps all the 40k stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think 40k has some really amazing big models, so like Mortarion. I'm just blanking on all the big models right now, but like the Catan Dragon, Shard Dragon, whatever it was called. Like I think 40k does really good grand figures, but their units, they're all just they all look the same to me. They're all just dudes in space.
Are you exercising yourself there?
The sneeze demons. But on that,
has blessed you.
when we were saying about the ground models, obviously Skaven as well, thinking of them, they have got some quality huge beasts, haven't they? They've really like gone for it, not just like the giant horned rats, like we're talking all the monstrosity ones and all of that. They really do seem to think that the designers are letting loose a lot more, rather than 40k seems to be this protected thing that everyone knows it. A space marine is a space marine is a space marine, so on and so forth. But yeah, I think they just have a bit more creative juice, a few more creative juices.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I wish that Skaven had more big monstrous rats, because I think that aspect of Skaven, don't think it's that well represented. In Forge World, there was a miniature of like the brood mother of Skaven with a rider on top of it, and they got rid of that miniature, and I have cried ever since because I never managed to get it. But yeah, I think this individual units of AOS they just look better to me. They're just a bit more. They just have that bit more detail to them.
Okay, so here's a question for both of you here, right? Because you're both obviously rat lovers. How difficult is it painting the fur? Because like the Lord of Contagion, the new one, which was Lord Feldius and the old canons of Death Guard, has got a kind of furry cape. I was going to say furry cup. That's a totally different thing.
Wrong thing.
He's got a furry cape, and I found that difficult to get the texture right and the shadows not right. How do you approach painting for a rat army?
What I do is I just follow like such basic recipe for it. It's just I'll pick the color of the fur, then pick the right shade to then load on top of it and dry brush. I think dry brushing brings out that furry texture because it can catch on all the hairs, and then on anything bigger I'll go over with my paintbrush and pick out any bigger strands of fur, and then I'll highlight it myself rather than dry brush. But I think dry brushing is like the best way to paint fur because it just catches that texture.
I'll second that. I think there's been some great tutorials that I've watched. 41st Millennium Dave's done a good one. He did it on wolves rather than rats, but it's still applicable. Your mate Mediocre Hobbies has done like some really good Skaven ones as well. But it is like contrast works quite well, and then dry brush them as you say, and then the slightly more bigger models, or the ones that you want to look a bit more fancy, just go for that little bit more detail on them. don't do what I did and try and paint them all albino because it's mental. The worst thing I've ever did, and they're still sitting there staring at me like, why haven't you finished me? But yeah, like some of the basic greys, browns, black furs can be so easily done. It's I think people make a bigger deal of it than it needs to be.
So going back to the model you said that somebody was riding it, who would be riding that rat? Would it be a dwarf, or would it be a goblin, or another rat with it? Who would be
Another
riding
rat. Another rat.
Yeah, the Skaven generally, if you see some of their bigger creatures, there's always another rat on top of it.
Yeah.
And even like the old Doom wheels and stuff like that, they've got little rats powering the big hamster wheel that another rat is riding, shooting lightning at.
I think I still have that video. It's literally a rat in a hamster wheel with a rat in the back charging the weapon with a rat at the front. It's just rats.
It's ridiculous, but the sense of humour on them is brilliant.
That does sound a bit of fun. And you've got to feel sorry for the mice in the world because they're not getting fair representation.
Southern rats about. So, Whocan Collective has joined in the chat and has fired up a question, which is something that we do sometimes ask. So they're stealing up under. Do you still have your first ever painted mini, and what was it?
I do not have it, but it was a Space Marine, and it was an Ultramarine, and I'm so grossed out about it. I don't know what happened to it. It might have got lost when I was moving. I was at uni, so I was moving houses every year, so it might have got lost. I don't know. But yeah, it was a really ugly blue Ultramarine.
I think
I would just like to say that I can't see the chat anymore. I'm stuck at Cooking saying AK is better, and I'm still wondering if she means AK-47s or the paint brand.
I think she means the paint brand, but you don't know. Maybe.
You never know. Yeah, could be the
She's German and Italian. You just don't know where. You know what I mean?
You just don't know.
Yeah, Hector and Cock. Right. So, something else that we like to ask with respect to your painting as well, and any brand, any company, whatever, is there a mini out there that is like your holy grail, that is something that you just look at? Obviously, you mentioned the Broodmother, but something right now that you could just walk out and get your hands on.
Oh, yes, the big 200-pound Smaug from Games Workshop. I have seen it in person once, and that was when I went to Warhammer World, and I was this close to spending 200. This close. But yeah, if I could get my hands on that dragon, I would unpack it, look at it, probably pack it up, and put it on the shelf.
If Mr. Hornedratq is listening, if he loved you.
I mean, Valentine's Day's been and gone, but is your birthday coming up? It's Christmas soon. Lay the foundations now.
Any rat holidays coming up from the Age of Sigmar that you could?
There is a National Rat Day. I can't remember when it was, but there is a National Rat Day.
Mr. Teamhornedratq, you know what to do.
I know. Matt, buy me 200-pound Smaug, please. No. I just got told no.
Tell him it's opposite day, and that means yes.
The Smaug model is gorgeous. Like, I do think that the Lord of the Rings range is really, really impressive because it's just a completely different style to everything else they did.
It is, and I think the early minis, their faces are so derpy, but they definitely got a lot better with the sculpts. But it's really weird because it's the one section of Games Workshop that I don't think gets enough love from Games Workshop and team, which is really sad because the minis are just so cool. But yeah, it's just like anything else. If it's not an Ultramarine, it doesn't get love.
Would there be a space in the 40k universe for space rats, or has there been space rats back in the day?
I have and I think they're still somewhere in the house. I have taken the Oh my god. They're not Space Marines. They're no, they're not Death Marines. The Nurgle Marines, basically. Death Guard.
Marines, yeah.
Death Guard. And I have taken off the helmets and put Skaven heads on them because I fully believe that Skaven in 40k can happen because of the lore, because obviously Skaven gnaw through different realities. There is an absolute chance that there is a gnaw hole that could open up in space and a bunch of rats will fall out into space.
Imagine if that's what was chasing the Tyranids. Bunch of rats.
Exactly. But I imagine that the way they do it, they accidentally gnaw the way through to space, and then you just see them falling out, and then just like frozen bodies of rats just floating in space because they haven't noticed yet.
Yeah, I
did see in Brighton Warhammer, someone did a conversion with Mechanicus and Skaven, and I feel like that works as well.
Yeah, that sort of fits the technology, doesn't it? That Skaven just keep coming up with mental stuff for no reason. And the sort of Dark Mechanicum could play into that. But there was a picture in I can't remember if it was the 9th or 10th rulebook for 40k. And it basically was like this weird, I don't know if it was like a rat or a dog alien thing. And it looked quality. And when that got leaked, everyone was like, holy shit, what is this thing? Are we going to get this as a new playable race army? Never happened. But
no,
people have gone out there and made Space Skaven. There's a really good one. I can't remember who's made it. I did save it, so I'll dig it out. But there is no reason why you can't. I mean, when you look at the 40k and like the old world and all of that stuff, essentially everything's just copied over with different names.
Yeah.
I wonder who would win in a fight: Team Tornrat and our space rats, or Yehan, Lord of the Cats, these cat meowings.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if Jehan's still in it, but he'd have to answer that. Cat marines are a bit weird. So actually on that, if we think about how Skaven themselves as minis have evolved over the years, because it was just like weird rats in shawls to now we get all the craziness. What would be, thinking about it, in the future, how would you like to see them then go? Because I think there is a pinnacle that you can get to certain ranges, but with Skaven, it just feels like the sky's the limit a little bit.
I would absolutely love if they came out with a box set of the end times. I want to see what Skaven blew up the moon with. I would love that as a physical mini. I would love to see, that as a box set. I think, and even then, I mean, I feel like there's just so much with Skaven that they've got so many clans that they haven't explored as miniatures, that they could take them in so many different ways. Like we see the crazy machines, we see some of the crazy monsters, but there's just so many little clans that add a bit more to the Skaven lore that I don't think we've seen as miniatures.
No, I think you're right on that, and it just feels like that there's more avenues for them to explore, but are they a bit scared to, or is it just that they look at it and think, give someone else a chance? Who knows? Cool. Right, we'll move on. I think it's time we get into the real questions, Dunk.
Yeah, we've warmed you up, Maria. We've made sure that you've had some proper stretchy questions. We've challenged your mind. We've warmed up your brain. Now it's time for the real questions. Casey.
So, actually, we did mention this earlier, and I want to jump back into it. But what colour am I wearing?
That's orange.
And we are sponsored by Orange Brushes. Yes, you've heard it here. Orange Brushes. Code Inquisition at checkout, 10% off. Get high quality sable brushes at low prices. Free shipping in the UK. They're good dudes, and they also now are trying to do various other little products. Please give them a look. They are worth your time and your money.
We just don't have faces for radio. We have voices for radio as well.
I walked right into that. Well done.
I like doing this to people. It's my favourite thing to do.
That is fantastic. Love it.
I've used this picture. I've used my clothing and ceiling. I've used the wall. Just no shame.
Wow, you redecorated your house just so you can be sponsored?
Yep,
No,
he actually used a size 1. He actually used a size 1 orange brush to paint his wall as well. That's how good they are.
You know what? Actually, as a handy DIY tip for anyone listening, if you need to do your edging, use a large Citadel brush. Works a treat. Anyway, so when you are enjoying your painting evenings and you and Mr. Hornedratq are getting down to having a little chill out on your Sunday evenings together, what crisp are you both snacking on?
Oh, I mean, I don't really pay that much attention, unfortunately, to the. It's not. Too much. Too many snacks. Two lists. Just one. If I could pick one, it would be the Walker's baked cheese and onion.
Good choice. The baked ones are to get overlooked. They're very nice.
They're just a cheap version of McCoy's without the deep ridges. That's all they are.
No.
I think they're different flavour profile.
They're just like extra crunchy and extra flavourful.
I'd say probably you could say they're closer to a Pringle than a McCoy. But yeah.
It's like if a McCoy and a Pringle had an illicit fair and that was a byproduct of it.
Yeah.
And Walker's strap it in the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, works.
And I'm really sad that they don't do them in just like big share bags.
They should. They really should. You can only get them in multi-packs. It's disgusting.
Exactly.
Let's be honest, the shared bags are just normal bags now. Let's all be honest, let's not kid each other on now. Like, we all just have, and if you have like a multi-pack, that is just one big bag of fish you're having.
Yeah.
Open up the 6 bags, whack it in the bag if you've not managed to rip it whilst opening it. And then there we go, bish bash bosh. So when you're having when you're having your abomination that is baked with Walker's cheese and onion, what are you washing it down with? And I swear to God, if you say Dr. Pepper, I am going to hunt down Elder M and choke her with a bottle of Dr. Pepper.
No, Dr. Pepper is disgusting. Come on. It is vile. No. It has to be a very crisp, cold Pepsi Max.
Normal or one of their flavoured ones?
No, normal. Why are you, freak? Absolutely not. Pepsi is already a flavour. Why would you add flavour to your flavour?
Because you want more flavour.
No, Tango Apple. That also gets a shout out.
Apple Tango is a beat.
I can't stand anything that's cherry flavoured.
No.
See, I
did try. I was watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives with my friends, and for season 3 premiere, we did the dirty sodas that they do in the show.
And what is a dirty soda?
Well, some of them are alright, but basically what they do is they'll take like Pepsi and then add a coffee creamer to it, and then add like a coconut cream to it, or take a Pepsi or Dr. Pepper and then add like or lemonade or soda water, and then they'll add like different fruit like syrups to it, and then create a whole different drink from it. Some of them were really nice. The fruity ones of like the lemonade or just soda water were really nice, but creamer in your Pepsi just makes cream soda, which is gross.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, lime and soda is like old school.
Yeah.
Like, so something like that, you can still get that in the pub. People don't bat an eyelid at it. But fake milk in your coffee, in your
But
Pepsi.
in the show, they have this place that they go to, and there's literally just so much stuff that you can combine together that it's questionable. But
It sounds it.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go, America.
Mormons. Mormons.
Best way to
Are they
sum it
not?
up.
They're not allowed to have. They're not allowed to have coffee though. Are they not allowed to have
Yeah,
stimulants?
because
That's
so
one.
basically, because they're not allowed to have coffee, they go for dirty sodas. They're not allowed to have alcohol either, so like that's what they go for is a dirty soda.
I feel enlightened. I never knew. I didn't know they weren't allowed coffee. What's
Yeah, I learned that watching the film SWAT because it's mentioned in the film SWAT that one of the guys is a Mormon and he was having coffee and they went, "We thought you weren't allowed to have coffee." And he went, "Don't tell my wife."
I mean, I would highly recommend watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. You learn about what Mormon life is like, but you also learn about how they're definitely not a Mormon. None of them are Mormon. None of them are Mormon.
I would imagine it's like watching Vanderpump Rules where they work in a restaurant and yet nobody actually serves anybody. It's just drama.
I just need to plug in my phone because my phone's gonna die.
No, you're grand. Don't worry. At least you had the respect to plug it in, because we've had so many people just say, "Oh, my battery's going to die now," and they're just fuck us off.
Yeah, but you usually only say that to me when you want me off the phone.
No, I mean I usually say that to you. I usually say that to you at the end of a Wednesday because we've been on this for an hour and a half. Then we spend another half an hour chatting to each other, and then my battery's fucked.
Okay.
That's what it is.
I had to move because the charger was in the other room. But there you go. There's a rat.
Love it.
I love that.
So we've got your crisps. We've got your drinks. Now, you said that your Sunday nights, you and your partner, you sit down, you have your painting and modelling evening, and you watch old films. What films are you putting on your Sunday evenings?
So we have a random name generator filled with movie titles.
Like it.
So because we can never agree on what film we should watch, we'll spin the wheel and wherever it lands on, we have to watch it.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. We got through some absolute shite of films. Like, he made me watch a lot of really bad sci-fi films because of that, but then I also made him watch a lot of horror films because of that, so it counted.
What's the worst horror film and what's the worst sci-fi film that you have both watched then?
The worst horror film I have ever seen. So many. Recently it was Spin the Bottle, which was really dumb.
That was the Australian one.
I don't know. I think so, but it was really bad. It's on Disney Plus if you dare to watch. And the worst sci-fi film,
Rise of Skywalker.
The Signal. That was recently what we watched. It was a really cool build-up, and then it's got Lawrence Fishburne in it.
Okay. Really good build-up, and then The Signal cuts out.
Yeah, it was just.
Not a comedian.
Have you ever seen Eraserhead?
Which one? Sorry.
Eraserhead. It's a David Lynch. That's
David Lynch.
You should watch it. You should watch it. It's terrible.
Stick it in the roulette wheel. I have me and my mates used to do a thing. It's funny you say that. We used to do, if we weren't going out and getting smashed, go around somebody's house. Everyone brings a film. Roll some dice. Whatever the number is, that's the film you watch. And I made my mates watch Old Boy, and so many of them were like, "Oh, is it not dubbed? Oh, I forgot to watch it with subtitles." I was like, "Yes, you're fucking watching it." But you know what? Afterwards, they're all like, "That was fucking sick." Those sorts of things can really open up your mind to either some amazing stuff or some absolute trash. But it's worth doing.
Right, here's a question for you, right? Sorry. I'm going to ask this question before it escapes my little tiny mind, right? So, see when you're watching a TV show, if it's a foreign film, right? are you picking what you watch? So, like for me, example, right? I can't watch anything that's dubbed with white people in it. So if it's German or Spanish or Norwegian or Swedish or anything that's got European white people, I can't watch that. But see when it comes to like Squid Game, Alice in Borderland, anything like Brazilian or anything that's got not white people, I tolerate that. I tolerate that. Are you the same or do you not care? Or
It's
am I
some
just
sort
a
of
racist against
reverse
white people?
racism.
Yeah.
If we're watching something if I'm watching something while painting, I won't pick anything that needs subtitles. Because obviously that requires my eyes on the screen. But I don't mind subtitled movies or shows. We watched a really, really cool German film, blanking the title now. I think it was something like Brick. Basically,
Yeah,
this couple.
but see if it was dubbed though with English, and I hate seeing knowing that it's a dubbed film or dubbed TV
Yeah,
show.
no, I can't watch it dubbed. The dub just it's because the lips they don't line up.
Yeah, but see
If
the Asian stuff, I'm fine with that. Or
if
black
it's
stuff, fine with that.
no, if it's a foreign film, foreign show, it has to be subtitled.
Has to be. I think I'm the same. That if it's this is my mindset, right? If it's people, it has to be subtitles.
Yeah.
But then, because of all the mad stuff that I grew up watching, like all the anime and stuff like that, if it's like a cartoon, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Fine.
I
you've watched Squid Games then with subtitles?
Yeah. I only watched the first season though.
I haven't watched it at all.
Have you ever watched? Did you watch Alice in Borderland?
Only the first 3 episodes because not that I didn't enjoy it, I absolutely loved it, but there's just other stuff to watch.
Yeah, you're not heathens, man. I couldn't do that with subtitles.
It has to be subtitles. You want to hear the actors acting.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's a fair point and I'm not taking anything away from the voice actors in the world, but sometimes when
get down,
no, I'm sitting down already. I'm not getting on the floor. And when you're watching, like you say, when you're watching it subtitled, you get the proper emotion of it because you can see their faces properly. But when you hear a bad dub over that same emotion, it can really ruin it. It doesn't have the same impact.
I used to be really elitist where I would only watch anime subtitled. I have grown out of that era. I am now just sometimes I just want to put an anime that I've seen already, just dubbed, just so it plays in the background. But anything with real people, it has to be subtitled. Has to be.
Yeah, it just makes sense. I've watched. I think I've mentioned it before on here that I've watched the Evangelion series. I don't know how many times, but you put it in subtitles for me, and I'm just like, it makes even less sense. So there you go.
No,
but it's.
I'm sorry. You are both wrong. And like, it has to no, it has to be. I want to hear voices, like people speaking. Otherwise, I don't want to read and try and keep up with the plot line. I like try to do math and play Warhammer. Expect better of you, Minnie, to be honest. I expected better. So, a TV show that we both kind of bonded over because of a stupid bit of music that I put up last week is Dexter.
Yes.
What did you think of the Dexter Resurrected and Dexter Ice Cold?
I really like New Blood because it fixed the really terrible ending of the original series. So it gave a bit of context. And as much as I love more Dexter, I don't think Dexter needed to be resurrected. I think they should have left Dexter where Dexter was laying. And I enjoyed the show, but it didn't quite feel like Dexter.
Yeah, I liked the start of New Blood, but I thought the ending was terrible. Like the ending of, like for me, Dexter should have ended with the Trinity killer. That's it. I'll say to my son, watch it up until Trinity. Once John Lithgow is finished, then you don't need to watch anymore because it just suddenly goes downhill after that.
I agree. I think the Trinity season is the best season. He's the best It's the best serial killer that kind of goes up against Dexter. But yeah, I completely agree. There we go. Bean wanted to join in as well.
Dogs everywhere. I love it. And dogs run off. So Kukin also in the chat a little while ago mentioned that you are a bit of a gamer as well.
Yes.
What is your poison when it comes to your gaming?
I am a huge Witcher fan. I will replay Witcher anytime. Anytime mentions Witcher, I will happily join into the conversation unless it's about the Netflix show. It's yeah. Other than that, I play a lot of cozy games. Yeah, I am a bit of a basic gamer girl. I'm not gonna lie. I like cozy games. They're great. But I recently finished Outer Worlds 2. Highly recommend that. But yeah, I enjoy a lot of different genres. I'm not like just stuck to one genre. If it catches my eye, then I'll probably get it. And you know, it's not rare that I finish games, but it's I don't finish them often unless they really suck me in. Like with Outer Worlds 2, I literally finished. I was playing that every single day for like a week, and then finished it off.
I liked Outer Worlds 1, and what broke me with Outer Worlds 1 was they got a speedrunner to do the game, and they did it in like 18 minutes, and like the developers were like that. Oh, I've never thought of that. It was so funny. But
Yeah.
I loaded up my Xbox on Monday because the wife fell asleep dead early, and I loaded up Darkest Dungeon,
I love Darkest Dungeon.
and I had 3 characters at level 4 and a level 5 character, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go into one of the harder dungeons, so they refused to go into the easy dungeons. So I went into one of the dungeons, and everybody was leveled up, and the computer picked my one healer, destroyed my healer, and then that was all 4 characters died, and I was pretty gutted. So I've actually restarted the game. Gutted, absolutely gutted and raging.
I don't think I ever finished a run of Darkest Dungeon, but it is an incredible game. I really want the board game version, but unfortunately it is now out of print. But I've got funny enough, my partner was given the miniatures of some of the classes as a Christmas present, so I pinched it, of course. So I painted the Plague Doctor, and there was another healer one. She has a club.
Oh, the nun. I call her the nun.
Yeah, the nun one. Yeah, so I've painted those 2. I've got 2 more to finish, and I was going to make a little Darkest Dungeon diorama out of them.
That'd be cool. Because I seen on Xbox today, it's probably been out for months, that Darkest Dungeon 2 is out in Xbox now. So I'm thinking and trying to wangle my way and buying that without the wife knowing.
It's a lot more 3D than the first game. It's a slightly different art style to it. Not the art style, but it's just a different like animation or whatever you would call it to it. But it's still a really good game. My partner played it. I watched him play it for a bit. But yeah, Darkest Dungeon is a decent game.
I don't think there's anything wrong with, like you say, doing like the cozy games every now and again. And I will always rationalise this in my brain that for years, if I was gaming with my mates, it'd always be something like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, and we would sit there and we would do 4 5-hour sessions a night.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, your brain was so frazzled, a little bit of a comfy gaming session just to log off the day with, like half an hour playing something silly like an Animal Crossing, a Minecraft, something daft, just to completely take you out of that hyped up mindset of check this corner, do this, do. And it just, even the music has that effect. It can just really cleanse your brain a little bit.
Yeah, when I was at uni, me and my partner did a playthrough of the Halo games, because up until that point I never played Halo because I never had an Xbox. So that was my first time playing Halo, and we completed them on like the hardest difficulty. I have never felt such a rage when playing through Halo 1 and the highest difficulty being chased by the bloody flood.
Yeah.
I,
On the
that,
library.
that's the first time that I wanted to throw my controller into the wall.
Are you playing any comfy games just now?
I'm currently playing through Sandrock, my time at Sandrock. It's a really good game. I've got currently over 100 hours in it. But a classic, Stardew Valley. Love Stardew Valley.
Have you played Graveyard Keeper?
I have, absolutely. It is a morbid, cozy game, right up my alley. Absolutely love it as well. I've got the DLCs, but I got the DLCs after I finished the game. So it's like trying to go back to it, but then I've done it with actually restart and it's just a whole mess. But
I would
yeah, it is
recommend
a
that
great game.
I would recommend that you do restart and have the DLCs installed because it does open up so much more. I prefer Graveyard Keeper to Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it's yeah, I absolutely really love Graveyard Keeper. It's a great game.
Now, I've not heard of this one, so you will have to sell it to me.
Right, so basically it starts off where you're crossing the road and get knocked down where you're looking at your mobile phone, and then you wake up and you're in the 15th or 14th century, and your job is to get back home and you have to fuck about with the Inquisition, tend a church, keep the graveyards nice and pretty, and pretty much make zombies so they can do all the tasks around your farm.
Sounds good to me.
It is the only thing I've not actually done in depth with the game is go fishing, but there's like there's so much like people drop off bodies. You can then no, not exhume. You can take all their organs out
Yeah.
and use the organs to make powders and potions, and then you can bury them or you can cremate them, which will then give you stuff as well. It's actually a really cool game.
You can also sell the meat to the local tavern.
Yeah. What cannibalism?
It's graveyard simulator if Microsoft made it.
And you'll then open up a pub that to go in competition against the other pub that initially helped you out that you sell your dead bodies to.
Jesus Christ.
It's such a good game.
It really is. It is.
It reminds me of Ghosts and Ghouls, the graphics on it. But yes, and your mission is basically to go back to your modern times when you're crossing the road and you get knocked down.
I think you sold me on saying that you can fish in it. I know, Dunk, you do fishing properly. And I know I've said before that I think it's one of the activities in the world I would struggle with the most. You give me a computer game where I can fish, I'm fine. Like, Ocarina of Time on the N64, I lost days fishing on that. World of Warcraft, same thing. Like, if you had nothing to do, you just sit there and fish.
Yeah.
And it was just a great time.
Red Dead 2, you can fish for years.
Mm-hmm.
Black Desert Online, what you do is you set your character fishing automatically and you just minimize the game so it like levels up your character's fishing and you don't even have to do it.
I know, I want to do it. Actually, I can't stand fishing in real life. You give me a game where I fish. Like, say, the Dreamcast, I don't know if you ever remember this, like, the Sega Dreamcast, they had Sega bass fishing on it, and the controller was half a fishing rod. And you'd have to do that with it, and you'd have the little reel with it and stuff, and there was no need, but it was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Graveyard Keeper, what I'm doing now is I played 2 levels of dungeon. Well, I've restarted my dungeon because I was so annoyed with those 4 people dying. I restarted it today, so I'm going to do 2 levels of that, and then we're going to bury a few bodies, maybe exhume a few corpses that don't really boost my church rating that well. Or you can hold sermons as well, and the better sermons, the more money you get. It's all about money and faith. Got to have a little faith. Where do you see, like, just try to go back to Dexter here, because I've got 1,000 thoughts in my head all at one time, so I jump about a lot. Where do you see Dexter going for next season?
Probably. I mean, I just, it is so hard because I feel like I don't really remember what I just recently watched, but I can recite every single episode of the original show. And I think because it's so forgetful that I just hope it gets cancelled.
I'd see it going in the bin.
I would rather them continue the show about young Dexter because that was actually really enjoyable than Dexter Resurrection. Because they cancelled oh my gosh, what it was called. I can't even remember. Original Sin. They cancelled Dexter Original Sin because the way they released it, they released it and they released Resurrection. So Resurrection got obviously more views than Original Sin, so they cancelled Original Sin to support Resurrection, which is just so dumb. But I would rather learn more about Dexter's past and how he got into that killing pattern rather than Resurrection.
See, I know very little about Dexter, but I think that makes a bit of sense because there's only so much you can do with a character once he's properly established. And as you guys have sort of already said, that you've written it, that he's already had an ending and then brought him back. And I think this is something that American TV do very badly, that something gets too popular and they can it off and think, right, that's it, it's had its run. And then they're like, oh shit, this is earning us money, we're losing money, let's bring it back. And then they fuck it.
I think for me, what it was the not nostalgia, because I wouldn't count it as a nostalgia, but because the kind of like nostalgic feeling of watching Dexter and the excitement of going, oh my gosh, there's more Dexter coming out. But actually, now that I thought about it a little bit longer, I don't know whether I enjoyed it that much. It took me a while to finish the season than it would have when I binge watched Dexter.
Yeah, like, but what you're saying is kind of right, Casey, because Dexter had an ending, and then they brought him back, and then they had an ending, and now they brought him back for the third time. It's like, you've jumped the shark twice now. I actually preferred Resurrection than New Blood. I thought New Blood, it kind of, that for me didn't feel like Dexter. I felt he was too rash, and then they had to bring in a villain, and I thought Resurrection kind of was more like the decent seasons of Dexter. But then, what show have they ever ended that everybody's universally loved? Like, if you go, I mean, I've never watched Sopranos, but I know how it ends, and I know people were raging with how the Sopranos end. Battlestar Galactica had a lot of split people and how that ended. The same as The Shield, like, what happened. Like, I'm actually rewatching The Shield because I recommended it to somebody yesterday. I mean, is there any TV show that we can all agree on that ended really, really well?
I mean, controversial opinion.
Sorry.
I mean, controversial opinion. I actually like the way Battlestar Galactica ended. I think everyone got a nice ending.
So did I loved it. I thought it was a great ending.
You know, they went through a lot. If they want to settle on a new planet and it's great, perfect, good on you. Well done. You deserve the break. I mean,
wild, but yeah, I agree with you.
I think another show that like I've put a lot of, time and watch hours into is probably just Game of Thrones.
That follows nicely because obviously we all know how Games of Thrones ended and how it basically shit the bed. There is no other way of describing it. It shit the bed. But I don't know if you've watched it yet, Dunk. Have you done Night of the Seven Kingdoms? What the fuck is wrong with the pair of you? I won't say anything. I know the story it's written on is a short story. It's been out for years. But to me, if they were just to turn around tomorrow and say, we're not going to make that again, that is the perfect TV series.
Right, I'll tell you what I haven't watched. I'm watching Animal Kingdom just now on Netflix. Have you seen that?
Oh, is that the crime family one?
Yeah.
With your man that was in Peaky Blinders?
Yeah.
I've watched an episode of it and it just seems weird.
It's fucking good. It's based off an Australian film, which is based off of a real life Australian crime family. So the guy that wrote the film and directed the film in Australia brought it over to America. Kind of like the Saw franchise. They started in Australia and brought it over to America, and they've kind of bastardized it to be in California, but it's following a crime family. It's actually really quite good.
I have to give it a bit more of a watch.
But once I finished, and I was watching Beast Games season 2. Watched that today. Finished that. That was actually quite a good ending.
But I will say, as much as like, I don't think we've had. I think there's a problem with media generally the last 10 years. With nothing has really had good endings. I don't think nothing really stands out as like it wraps up nicely, and you're just like, you know what, that did.
I absolutely agree, and I am just so tired of Netflix just cancelling shows after like one season.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna do a really short series that ends in one season, that's fine, but don't leave me absolutely blue-balled at the end of a show and then just go, actually, you know what? You're not gonna find out what's behind that door.
That TV show with the boat in the 1930s or 40s, that was a Netflix show.
They got is it time travel?
It was like kind of like it was a multi-language film, so you had like English speaking, you had German speaking.
Yeah,
it was actually a really good
I've heard about
TV
it,
show.
but I've never watched it.
Maybe Snowpiercer ended quite well. I need to rewatch that again. Yeah, I like Snowpiercer.
The other thing, I tell you what, the other thing I'm watching at the moment on Netflix is Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
I've read the book that they turned into the first series, and that was, but apart from like one major plot change, that was near enough a perfect like adaptation. And then the second series, I was like, oh, this is a new story, and again, just shit the bed.
I absolutely loved season 1 of Altered Carbon, and I think the guy that they got to play Kovac was just so well casted.
Yeah. He's brilliant.
No hate to I knew Captain America now. No hate to him, but it just did not feel the same. I think Altered Carbon was one of those things that it should have ended with season 1.
Yep.
And it should have been left.
Kind of like Heroes.
I get that they have the option of, well, they could just re-sleeve him and recast someone else, and that's obviously fair enough. But I don't know. I just feel like Altered Carbon season 1 was just so fantastic that it just did not live up with season 2.
I think there's also like the take on it wasn't just like a standard sci-fi. There was like the moral questions of it, isn't it? Like in the future where you can download your soul into a chip and then just shove it into another human body. Yeah. What is the afterlife? It's just like the actual story and the thought behind everything was amazing. Like I say, apart from, I don't know if you guys ever read the book, but
I started reading it.
I won't say too much then. There was like a major plot change, and it didn't affect it too much in the first series, but when they did the second one and made it its own thing, you're just like, nah.
I do need to go back and finish watching C. I did like that. Jason Momoa, and it's basically a dystopian Earth where everybody's blind.
There's just, I feel like nowadays with so many streaming platforms, there's just so much that I tend to start a show and then be like, yeah, I'll finish it later. I don't feel like it right now, and I'll start a brand new show, and I just don't end up finishing stuff because it's just non-stop.
Yeah, I will say I think we get bored of things a lot easier. Like years and years ago, if you had no choice and you had to wait a week for something, you'd look forward to it. And exactly. Now it's all like on demand. I get fed up if I have to wait a week for something, unless it really catches me.
I think that's a fallout from COVID, because that's all we could do for that year was just binge stuff. So, like for example, if you wanted to watch 24, like there's 24 episodes in each season, and there's like 8 seasons. You could have did that in like a month. Whereas like as soon as I finish something, the wife will go, "Oh, they made a new one of that, Geraldine. It literally just got released today. Like nobody's watched it yet. Like you need to give it time." But I think COVID ruined streaming and waiting for episodes to come out. Because then, if you look at, like, I don't know if you've both watched Fallout, like, when the first season of Fallout came out, they released it all at the one time.
Mm-hmm.
And then with season 2, it was a week apart. So I waited and I avoided X or Twitter, whatever you want to fucking call it now. And I avoided it until it finished, and then I binged it all in the 1 week. And then Prime, I think, were worrying that nobody was watching Fallout. Yeah, that's because you released it all at the one time last year. I think, as a consumer, we're just used to things getting released. Like Reacher, you're like, I know you're a big Reacher fan, Casey. Like, would you save that up or would you watch it a week apart?
Depends what. Like, I've read a lot of those books because I'm a massive fucking idiot. But it depends on what the actual adaptation is. If it's one that I know and I enjoyed, I'll look forward to watching it every week. If it's not, then I'll just leave it. But again, going back to Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I wasn't going to bother. I was just like, do I really want to watch another Game of Thrones spin-off show? But it was so different. It proper just grabbed me and was like, you will look forward to this every week. You will watch it as soon as you wake up on a Monday. And you will fucking like it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm here for this then. But I think the perfect change in that, right? As you're saying, Cobra Kai. Loved it. It is just dumb, fun telly. But Netflix would put that up all in one go. Yeah. And then there was other things that, like you're saying, at the same time, you gotta wait a week. I get it. Like, and during COVID, they just dumped it all on the platforms. Like, here you go. We want your money. Stay here and watch this. But there seems to be no rhyme or reason sometimes to it. If that makes sense, there's just like some like Fallout. Yeah, you're gonna get hype. You're gonna get people watching it because it's Fallout. But then other shows, it's just like, just watch this all over. Here you go.
What about you, Marie? Do you prefer binging something all at one time, or do you prefer the week apart now?
It depends on the show. If I'm getting more than 4 episodes, then, you know, I'd rather wait. But like with Bridgerton, they only have 8 episodes and then they split it in 2 halves. So you get 4 episodes now, and then, you know, 6 months later you get the other half. And I'm like, no, it's only 8 episodes. Release it now. Like, release it all in one go.
That's
if it's something longer than that, then yeah, I don't mind absolutely waiting, because I think it lets me process the episodes that I have just seen. Also, excuse me, my dog is currently eating the bins.
Live TV, people.
But I think it was The Walking Dead that started that mid-season hiatus, wasn't it? Like, they would show like 6 episodes up until December, and then they would take a break until I think it was always February or March. And
I think American TV shows, American TV shows do that generally, because I think in a lot of cases, American TV shows aren't just 10 episode things. They can go 15, 20, 30 episodes a series. So the mid-season break would span out a show for an entire year. But now they're making less episodes of stuff, standing around after 4 episodes and saying, right, now you've got to wait 6 months for the second half. It's just, you're stringing it out. You have already made this. It's already been through production. You've got it ready. Stop mugging us off.
Case in point, right, and I'm going to go into a film here, right, because I don't know if you've both watched it yet. I watched it in the old IPTV. Other services are available. But I watched Bone Tempo, 28 years later, Bone Tempo. Now, I've read it didn't do well in the box office, but I felt Bone Tempo was a much better film than the one before it. If they had released them at the same time or a month apart, I think we would then get another 28 days later. I thought Bone Tempo was fucking brilliant.
I haven't done any much 28 years.
Yeah, I haven't seen Bone Temple yet, but I have watched 28 Years Later, and I think it was just very disappointing. It just did not live up to the hype that I had in my head from the original, and then even the second one.
But I think that's because it was basically a film. It was like, I think what they tried to do is they tried to do Kill Bill Volume 1, but failed, because Kill Bill Volume 1 gave you an ending, but you were looking forward to the start of the second one, because you're like, oh, right, she's already killed. So we've not seen the people that she killed before she killed Black Mamba and everybody else. But
yeah,
28 years later, I failed with that, because it kind of ended an arc but it never gave you that hook where you wanted to watch. But
I understand.
I'm telling you, 28 years later, Bone Temple is there's such a good bit of lore in it, and it's such a good film that you definitely need to give it a chance, even if there's 28 years later shite with that boy Aaron Johnson, what his name is. The second film is much better. He's not in it. Kick-Ass isn't in it at all. It's more on that wee boy that he was with, and then Raphael Fiennes and everybody else, the Jimmy Savile crew. It's a proper 28 Days Later film, I feel.
Yeah, it just kind of didn't feel. I feel like the first film just makes it such a good job that you feel so bad for the main hero that I felt like there just wasn't any of that for the dad or the boy.
But there is that feeling of it. There is that feeling of it in Bone Temple. Because me and my son were discussing Bone Temple yesterday, and he thought, well, this is much better than... Because he went to the cinema to see 20 years later. Because I think they had scheduled...
He wasn't even born when 28 months later came out, was he?
No. He wasn't even a twinkle in his dad's eye, as they say.
That's scary. But yeah, I will have to give it a look. I did mean to go and see them both and then just never bothered.
I have to say, I won't take any Aaron Taylor Johnson slander.
Why? He has been groomed by a woman. She
no. Yeah,
years older than him.
The Crypt Keeper. I'm not talking about the Crypt Keeper. I'm talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson. I
liked him when he was in Kick-Ass, and I liked him in his younger years, but in the last few years, there's just an air of arrogance about him that I just...
Have you seen him in Bullet Train?
Yeah.
No.
That's a mad film.
Watch Bullet Train, and then that will change your mind about Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I'll tell you what changed my mind about him. And like Duncan just said, I loved him in Kick-Ass. I loved him in a few other little bits and bobs. But I really enjoyed, and this film gets so much hate, Tenet. Because he's in that, and he's only like a bit character in that. But in watching that, I was watching it like him or Patterson could be the next Bond quite easily because they're just there.
I turned off Tenet. I did get a bit too boring for me. But I'm so glad that Robert Pattinson is getting his acting break.
Yes.
Like from Twilight. As much as I love Twilight, and I am a huge Twilight fan, I'm really glad that he's got a breakaway. His recent film, the sci-fi one,
Mickey's 17 or whatever it was.
Mickey's 17 is incredible, but like it seems that no one has seen it because I think it just didn't get as much advertising as it should have.
No,
but it's an incredible original film, but I think it just got lost in the sea of remakes and nostalgia that's currently plaguing Hollywood.
Yeah, I think he could have been so easily just nailed in of, he's the vampire from Twilight, and that would have been his career then on out making similar films. But he has done so many different varied things. I really enjoyed him as Batman.
His Batman was incredible.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed him in the Lighthouse film with William Dafoe. I thought he was brilliant in that.
That was fucking insane. I still don't have a clue what was going on in it, but I really enjoyed it.
That film to me was like watching Memento for the first time. It's like, what the fuck is going on in this film?
You're looking at me lobster, all this, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Brilliant. Like, I watched it one night on having I think I had a curry and a few drinks, and I was just like, what is going on?
I honestly, watching it sober doesn't help. You still don't know what's going on.
But I loved it. I thought it just made no sense. It was this mad bollocks, and it worked.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a good black and white film unless it's Eraserhead?
One of my favorite horror films is Invasion of Body Snatchers.
Which
and the original from, I think it's from the 60s or even earlier.
Because
But I got shown it during a film media class at sixth form, and
Oh, cool.
I have loved it ever since. So you've got the original from like, I think it might have been 40s even, because you do
Yeah.
have a remake from the 70s or the 80s, and then you've got
Yeah.
the remake from I think like 2010 or early
You've had,
2000s.
there's been so many versions of it. Like I remember the 70s one had Donald Sutherland in it. And it also had your man that recently passed away that was in The Godfather. He had a cameo where he was a priest on a swing and he
Yeah,
just stared at people. Creepy as shit.
yeah.
But then you had an 80s version where like they flew to a different country in the end. The Faculty, is it The Faculty, I think is a version of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. But yeah, the original, some of those old black and white films, a lot of people hate on them. A lot of people are like, oh, why do I want to watch those films? Nah, understand cinema. Go back, watch those films.
I think that's why I'm really looking forward to Spider-Man Noir, because they're releasing it in black and white. Although they are releasing a color version, I'm really looking forward to seeing Nick Cage in a black and white, like really old style show with I am expecting a full Atlantic accent. I want it all.
Yeah, you need to get proper Nick Cage, like Leaving Las Vegas Nick Cage, Kick-Ass Nick Cage, or Face Off Nick Cage. You need to get.
You need to unlock him.
Has he not taken his medication? You don't actually know if he's acting or not, if he's actually just been his true self. That's the sort of Nick Cage that you want.
I think he could do it in that. I think he's quite close to Big Daddy as like an idea of it from Kick-Ass, which I thought he was brilliant in that film. But I'm looking forward to that one as well, actually, because it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What would be the one horror film, because you're a bit of a horror lassie, that you would die on a hill for?
I absolutely adore Evil Dead. And I'm really glad that the franchise is getting a bit of a love. I recently showed my partner Evil Dead Army of Darkness.
Great film.
And every single Halloween I host a horror movie marathon. So a few years back I did show the original Evil Dead. That did not go down well with my audience. I must say, I was very disappointed. They just don't have taste. And then we watched Evil Dead Rise in cinema. I actually convinced him to come with me, and he did enjoy it. As much as he denies it, he enjoyed it. I know he did. And that was incredible. And then so I have a horror movie, 100 horror movie you must see poster that you like scratch off.
Oh yeah.
So cool. Evil Dead is obviously on it. I was like, fine, we've seen Evil Dead Rise. I'm going to show you. We're going to skip number 2, but I'm going to show you Army of Darkness because I know you'd enjoy Army of Darkness. And he did. I know he did. It's bonkers. How can you not enjoy Evil Dead Army of Darkness?
Army of Darkness is great. Like I saw 2 before 1, and there's similarities between them. But
yeah, it's basically number 1, but Ash gets possessed.
Yeah, and it's still a great film. I love a lot of them Sam Raimi films. Horror movie I would die on a hill for. You know what? I don't know if people would technically class this as a horror film, right? Because it's quite recent. And obviously the genre it originates from, probably you wouldn't normally class it as horror. But Godzilla -1.
Not seen it.
No, see, I loved it. I thought it was great. And again, because they released it in black and white, that made it like I watched the color version first, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it looks fine." You stuck it in black and white, like it's a slightly different experience. It's not typically horror because kaiju films aren't horror films, but it's not the point of Godzilla. He was meant to be a horror film. It's like, look at what we're doing to the fucking world, and off we go. But apart from that, I would say Cabin in the Woods.
Yes. Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods is fucking great.
It
For
is.
me, I would say the platform.
I haven't seen the platform.
Basically, there's people trapped in levels. I think there's like two. I think it's a French film. Right? Even though I was slagging off dub films, right? I actually watched it and liked it. But basically, they're allowed to. They get designated a floor to live on for like 30 days, and they share it. It's just like a big open. It's basically like a prison cell, but in the middle is a big open square, and every day food comes down, but you can take whatever you want. So all the people at level one will take, they get the prime pickings, and as it goes down and down and down, it just like the less food there is, people are peeing on the food, they're like wrecking the place. But you can't take food off the platform. You have to eat what you can in 3 minutes, and they try and like it's a kind of social experience. I actually really enjoyed that because
Sounds
even though
interesting, yeah.
even though it's a white person dub film, I actually really enjoyed it. And there's another film called, I think it's called The Circle, and basically a bunch of people wake up standing up in a room, and there's this timer. I think the woman from Deborah from Dexter was in it.
Mm.
No, not Deborah. Dexter's wife was in it. Rita was in it.
Yeah.
And basically, it works out that you have to vote who you want to eliminate just by looking at them. And the most people after each round gets eliminated. It's actually really, really good.
Yeah. I am a huge fan of any horror that has like comedy aspects in it.
Mm.
I don't think we get enough dark comedies. My recent absolute favorite was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I absolutely adore that film, and I think it's because it just doesn't take itself seriously. And it was just such a joy to watch. Exactly, Bean. It was just such a joy to watch that it was just like it's everything that you could want from a creepy clown film.
Kind of like
But
Dead Snow then.
But the directors were just on crack.
Dead Snow was great, yeah. But it's like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And you look at like the Leprechaun films, which are the same thing. And I'll say this one, Critters, because Critters is... we bring it up every now and again, Dunk. It was just ridiculous. And here's this weird sci-fi horror about these little things. And it's just... Yeah, I think there's like this thing about the 80s and 90s, the sense of humor just being riddled through some of this stuff. They just didn't care. It was low budget, but they were like, fuck it, we ball.
I think that was one of Billy Zane's first films as well. I think it was Critters 2 he was in. And I remember them like throwing out a grenade and the critter eating the grenade because he thinks it's food. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious.
Yeah, I do think that like sci-fi is probably the best genre to mix with horror. Any sci-fi horror, it's absolutely it gets me uncomfortable, and I love that.
And we all come back to it. Event Horizon.
Oh, it is such a weird film that I just like. I watched it and then I had to sit in front of my dark TV after I turned it off, going, "The fuck did I just watch?"
I was in the army at the time and I had a single room. Once I finished watching that film, I went and slept in the 4-man room because there was a spare bed for 3 nights. And I was like, in the army, you're expected to be rough and tough. No, Sam Neill saying she doesn't want you to leave and the door closing with the prodigy banging at the end. I'm like, no, I need to sleep in a room with other men. I need to feel safe.
I think, funny enough, I think my love for horror has stemmed from the fact that, so there, for context, there is a 6-year difference between me and my sister, so it's quite big, so she's a lot older sister. So when I was 12, she was 18, and so she thought it would be really funny to show me The Ring, which scared the absolute living shit out of a 12-year-old Maria, to the point where I literally ran and had to sleep with my parents in bed because I was just so scared. And I think ever since then, like, you know, just seeing scary films I would absolutely hate. But then my dad showed me Freddy versus Jason, which has comedy aspects in it. then I was just like, you know what? No, I think this is going to be my personality trait from now on.
And that was the thing with Event Horizon. There was comedy moments in it, like when the rescue technician get blasted away, and then
Oh,
he comes flying back, goes, "I'm back, motherfuckers!" And then he realizes he can't stop, so just smashes into the window.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there is funny bits in it as well. Like,
That's brilliant. But it's also like you think about it, the Chucky films, right? Child's Play had a really rough intro to the world, like because the first one was serious, and then you had the Jamie Bolger incident, and then they released the next couple. But then it like I can't remember if it was around the third or fourth one. They just switched it up and was like, let's just run some more humor through this.
Yeah.
And then you had like Bride of Chucky, the one with the kid, and it just started going insane, and it was just hilarious by the end of it.
I tried to watch the Chucky TV show, and no, that was you're dreading up on dead horse. Just leave it alone.
I never knew there was a TV show here, folks. I think that's probably a good time to just leave it here because we've all got animals apart from Casey, and I'm thinking about Event Horizon, and I need to go and sleep with a woman beside me so I feel safe. I want to be the little spoon tonight so I can feel safe in my wife's tiny frame, even though Sam Neill is going to haunt me tonight. She doesn't want you to leave. Fuck you, Sam Neill. I liked you when you were fighting dinosaurs. Not fucking.
Here's my eyes.
Oh, Liberate, mate. Oh, I'm right. I'm starting to freak myself out now. That's all we've seen there is that guy. Liberate, Totemi. Yeah. I just, I would just love to know what was in that DVD, but I actually don't want to know what happened to the Event Horizon at the same time. Maria, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out to, or is there anything that you would like to promote for yourself?
I do commissions. If you have some grey minis, please reach out to me. I try to be reasonable with my prices, but obviously I do have bills to pay. Other than that, I would love to shout out Kukan Cisa. She's amazing. She's an absolute great friend. Other than that, thank you so much for having me.
And shout out to Cooking as well, because it's her that recommended you, and we're always looking for people to recommend people to come on, because it's easier for us to say such and such recommended you than two random guys sliding into your DM saying, you want to come on a podcast.
I mean, you did message me going, we're watching you, so you know.
Yeah, that was a bit creepy, dog.
But Sam Neill told me to say that.
Yeah.
Casey, any final Liberate May thoughts from you?
Yeah. Don't get on a spaceship that tries to go to the other side of the galaxy by traveling through hell. Hello, dog. Oh,
good dog.
Yeah.
Land shark. Also, what are your thoughts on going on cruises with your kids in midterm break, Casey?
Oh, yes. I did have a little thing. I went on a cruise. It wasn't really a cruise. It was an overnight ferry, but you can do them. Just beware that the North Sea is fucking mental and you will get seasick at some point. I was fine. The rest of the boat was fucked.
Well, on that bombshell, folks, we'll see you next week. I think we have Johnny is painting, so it'll be Johnny is chatting next week. And if you want to come on, hit us up. Because Casey wants to speak to new people.
I'm just going to keep barking now.
Yeah. Folks, in tradition, orange brushes. See you next week. Au revoir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.